I'm Patrick, the founder of Univium, a business automation development company, and today I am here with Andrew Kidd, the founder of BetterFlow AI. BetterFlow AI also does automation development for various types of businesses. Welcome, Andrew. We're glad to have you on.
Awesome. Thank you. I'm excited to be here. I've never done a live podcast before, so this is a great experience, and I'm liking the app we're using right now too.
Absolutely. No, definitely a great platform. So, tell me a little bit about yourself, how you would describe your business, kind of what you do, who you serve, and that sort of thing.
Yeah, so I guess starting with myself, born and raised Rochester, New York, upstate New York. I mean, I've always had an interest in computers. I went to school for computer science. I My first job was actually in finance, which makes absolutely no sense. But now it makes a lot of sense because the experiences I got working with businesses there is like one to one here, and the network I made there has been able to easily translate into this. Um, but yeah, about my business, BetterFlow AI, you can kind of think of it as a software contracting business almost. So it's a multifaceted thing. There's three areas. We like to do them all together, but we can do them separately. That's the actual software development, whether front end, back end, the automations, which I know will be an interesting conversation, and then AI agents wherever they seem fit. And so what that looks like is we get together with small businesses, maybe individuals, or even people with a dream to take something to the market, and we build it from you know bottom to top. All the
Love
software,
it.
all the automations, any integrations, and then depending on what the client actually wants from it, we add in AI agents that have top-down access to all the data, or just in various automations to help smooth things out and take time away from their daily tasks.
I love
So,
it. I love
yeah,
it. So it sounds like you kind of offer a full, all-inclusive solution for your clients, and
yep,
it sounds like it's very revolves around your custom web app development. Really, is kind of what it all revolves around, and then you kind of add on to that, which I think is amazing right now because you're able to do so much more with AI and customize very quickly and iterate very
mhm.
quickly. Would you agree?
Yeah, that's the only way this actually works, actually,
Yeah.
because instead of spending, you know, 7 months, 6 months to a year developing one thing, we could kick them out and, depending on the scope of the project, a couple weeks to a month. And we can
Yeah.
also work on multiple at the same time because I have multiple partners in this that actually help me get things going. So,
I love it. I love it. Do you, so I know you use Lovable as
mhm.
one of your main development platforms. What other platforms do you use that integrate with it? What do you use for your automations? What's kind of your tech stack or preferred
So
tech stack?
it depends. Can I share my screen on here?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you can.
Yeah, let me see. So I prepared this. This is for a actual job that we're doing. Can you see this?
Yes, I can.
So what I used basically is Lovable, Figma, N8N, Supabase, ChatGPT, of course. And then the integrations completely depend on the project. So for this one, this is a C-suite type software for, um, let's say, 5 business owners that have closely related clients. They're going to use this to be able to interchange referrals.
Okay.
So let's say, and I'm, let's say it's so I know the initial group is a financial advisor, an IT person, a marketing SEO and website development person, and then a business consulting. So
Mm-hmm.
what they're doing is they want this built so that they can easily track all of the leads that they're working on together, do all of the
Okay.
task management, have a completely relational database underneath it that they can. It's to organize everything, and that's one of the biggest things we do is we take businesses that are having a chaotic time organizing things or have way too many data points spread out across way too many apps, and we consolidate all of it.
Yeah.
But
I
back to
love it.
integrations for something like this specific, like we're going to take Google Calendar, Microsoft Outlook, put those together so that everybody can see each other's time slots so they know when to schedule together. Those will be two-way updatable. Twilio SMS, that's for text message reminders. Maybe there's a new lead, new task, and
Hmm.
reminder updates. Stripe, that's for invoice payments. QuickBooks, same thing, also invoice payments just to automate that process. And then most of it is built in NAN automations on the back end.
Amazing, amazing. So you integrate all those platforms with this through N8n, or is 8n just an 8n just an add-on in addition to the platforms you integrate with the app?
Um, Also totally variable. I mean,
Depends. Okay.
it completely depends. Sometimes people like for this gutter business, all he wanted was a very simple CRM with a pipeline, and so that's literally all we made him was a page to track all of it, to consolidate all his data into one place, and then an area to track people on like a Kanban style pipeline system that also update him automatically when to follow up, things like that. Very simple. The only automation there was a quick Twilio SMS message to his phone to remind him to do something.
Amazing, amazing. I love it. I use I don't use Twilio. What do I use? I use TextMagic, but we're getting into Twilio, which does WhatsApp messaging as well, which is very valuable.
Mhm.
So amazing. Do you have? I'm curious. So I don't do too much web app development. I mostly do deal in automations. But when I do a web app, I have like a favorite kind of layout framework that I like. Do you have a preferred layout that you kind of use repetitively over and over again that you then adjust, or do you just start off fresh with every
So
client?
we are actually developing that framework right now. We want it to be just, a repeatable base wireframe that we can start off and just add things on. And the plan there is that every time we add something on, we want it to be fully modular so that down the line, once we've come across so many situations that we can just say, hey, here's a form, check off the boxes you want. And if you need something specific, we'll add it in and then we'll have that for the future. So that allows clients to basically design their own. For right now, we have to do everything handmade, but we're working on the wireframe. But it allows them to have fully, you know, have customization over their own
I
CRM
love
and
it.
yeah.
I love it. I love it. I was curious too. So you mentioned you use Figma, which I think is amazing. I haven't been able to do Figma nearly as much as I wish I had. And then also Supabase. I was curious. So, because I used to use Supabase as well for some Lovable projects, but then Lovable switched to Supabase or Lovable Cloud, which I think is based off of Supabase. Do you use the Lovable Cloud database still, or do you still use Supabase? Is there a pro or con with
I
one or the
I'm not gonna have a good answer for you because I still use Supabase. I love Supabase, and I have not given the time to actually do a pros and cons to the Lovable Cloud and
other?
Supabase. So
Dang.
I can't give you a good answer on that.
Yeah, you'll have to check it out. I'd love if you have any thoughts on that. I'd love to know. I love Supabase as well. I really love the back end. It makes it really easy to access,
Mhm.
view, manage your data.
Yep.
And then But Lovable Cloud now has made it so easy where it can just generate your database for you straight in the cloud. It's not nearly as robust in terms of like editing the back end of it, but it makes it real easy. And
Yeah.
so there definitely are pros and cons. I would definitely check it out. I haven't made a decision myself either, so
I'll have to get in there because I mean Lovable is moving really fast. So
it is.
I am sure that give them a little bit of time and that cloud-based storage is going to be great.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then curious. So I know you said you don't use Replit too much. Are you familiar with kind of the pros and cons differences of it?
No, not really.
Okay.
I think I found what I liked immediately, and I haven't really looked too much, and then just have been running with that.
Yeah, I'll say I looked at so I messed around with Replit a little bit. Lovable is significantly better at making the UI UX look much more professional, much more engaging and whatnot.
Hmm.
Replit looks kind of more basic, but Replit does have a a development environment and a production environment. So like two separate databases
Right.
automatically.
Right.
Yeah,
So you're able to do load testing and um, things like that to make sure it will actually run at scale.
yeah. So that's what I like Replit about. But it's kind of a pros and cons. I'm really hoping that Lovable eventually will get the development production environment because that makes it really convenient whenever you're dealing with an app that maybe a lot of people are using and you don't want to like cause downtime while you're editing.
I actually I
You,
have a question for you based
yeah,
off that. Do you know about Lovable's GitHub branch switching features?
I
Okay.
do, and I've used it for a couple of my projects. Are those because it kind of does version control on its own? Are there other benefits to doing the GitHub repository connection
No,
for
I
Lovable?
was just kind of answering a question because what we do, and we've only actually had to do this once so far, because this one is not just going to be for a specific team. This could be thousands of users. But we split the branches up, do all of our testing, um, and our like new implementations in different branches, and then depending on what we like, we push it to the actual main branch that's live.
Oh, so you can branch. See, I hadn't tried the branching feature of GitHub. I attached it to GitHub just so I could do version control and kind of make sure I really kept track of something important, but I didn't know you can branch. So you can branch, develop off of different branches, and then publish your branch after you've done your testing.
Yep.
So first off, I love that. I'm glad you mentioned that. I'm definitely going to use that. My only question is, how do you manage uh, the back end of that? How do you manage the database version control? Do you do that in Supabase? How do you roll back, database changes, or how do you have to have different versions of your database as well? I've
Right.
never really gotten into database version control very deep, and I'm not the best at it, but I'm curious to hear your
I
thoughts.
mean, I'm still kind of on the same page as that. We're figuring it out. The thing is that Lovable doesn't offer super base branch switching, which they do have. It's just
Okay.
not there yet. So you're right. When you are working on the project, if they're all still using the same database, so if you make an update to a um, let's say a test branch, that's still going to update the database that the actual main branch is still using. So that
Yeah.
genuinely is a problem that we're dealing with right now. Um, we're not super sure. We've just been ignoring it because there's not enough traffic on the actual site yet for it to be a problem, and we haven't had um, like errors or issues using the main site, even when the back end hasn't isn't totally for it. They're
Yeah.
on the same
And
level.
you can kind of plan around it too by making sure like, hey, let's do all of our updates that don't require database changes and like I don't know about for you, but for me, anything requiring it like a large database change, I'll do it like on a weekend or something like that when no one's on it or whatever
Yeah.
time no one's on
Oh shoot, I just forgot what I was gonna say. Yeah, but that we're working on it because that absolutely needs to change because that is not good practice for something like this.
I imagine Lovable is working on a solution for that. I'm certain
They
they know. Yeah.
they have to be. I mean, that's gonna be. And honestly, you might even be able to just go into the code. You probably can go into the code and just change where the pointer is to the Supabase branch. That's probably the fix for right now. But
Yeah,
yeah, I hope they get something like that because that would make it a lot easier.
absolutely. Um So on to AI agents. I know you said you do AI agents. Do you
Mhm.
do them uh do you build your AI agents in Innate or do you
Yep.
build them within Lovable or something entirely separate?
Nope. Innate.
Innate.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. And that's the AI agent module that they have with all the tools and
Yes,
whatnot.
that thing is beautiful.
Amazing, amazing.
Yep.
I've used it as well. Do you use they have like a structured output parser to like structure your responses and whatnot? Do you ever use that or not so much?
Um, Not so much actually. I might want to use that for one of the things I'm working on
It's
actually.
kind of tricky. It doesn't always work the best, so it makes sense if you haven't. But that's something I'm definitely trying to get into more is the AI agent. What's your favorite use case for an AI agent if you have one?
So, personal assistance. What we have done is once again with Twilio, loving Twilio if you can't tell.
Yeah.
We assign access or AI access to the Supabase database, and then we designate a phone number to our client so that they can basically interact with a language model that is trained on the company's data. Um, that also maybe has internet access. So let's say like, hey, I've got this client X, Y, and Z. I don't have a lot of information on them. Can you go find more? And then it'll do that. Pull back URLs. You can click on them. It helps you research. Add a new client. Blah blah blah. Maybe they're out in the field. The guy that we originally built it for the first time. Um, he was having that problem. Like he just wasn't going on his laptop to get onto his Google Sheets to edit things. So
Hmm.
we first of all we built them the full CRM to get them off the 6 or 7 different Google Sheets that they had, um, and then we did the top-down AI agent so that while they're in the field they can schedule things, add reminders, update the database right from there.
I love it. I
Yeah,
love it. No, it's amazing. I just drew a blank as well. I had
we're
a
good.
really important question I was going to ask. It went away. It was something related to Twilio, but I forgot.
I don't,
Again,
the
I've
hardest
been
problem I
large. Yeah, so go ahead.
The hardest problem I have with Twilio is that you need to have a public terms of service that they need to agree to actually
Yeah,
opt in for the messaging. So that was,
and you have to get that for your client too.
yep, and that was super fun. So I had to build in like just opt in to my site for them to click for it to actually text. I mean, I could have done it without actually having them click it, but
Yeah, but
um,
they look at it. I tried Twilio a couple times as well and got denied because they're like, this isn't good enough, isn't good enough. Then
yep,
TextMagic, so TextMagic is based off of Twilio, but
yeah,
they kind of streamline the process for you a bit more, and they make it where it's impossible to get denied, but they give you like all the checklist of everything you need. But you can't do as much with TextMagic as you can with Twilio. So Twilio is still on my list to really hone down and refine. Um, but yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Um, so what would you say is when you're talking with the client? You know, I'm sure you, like as you said, one of your clients is just all in Google Sheets. I'm sure you've had that occur more than once.
oh yeah.
Do you ever get clients or potential clients that are hesitant to switch over to a custom app? And what do you say to them, or what are their concerns? And then what is your response?
So I actually haven't had that situation yet. I would
Okay.
say the closest situation I have had was a guy who was already using a invoicing service called Heartland to send out invoices and do merchant services. And we wanted to just build that into the CRM we made him so it could all be in one spot. But he was hesitant to move over to what we wanted to do. I have not had that problem yet to get people to switch over. The first project I ever did, which I bit off way more than I could chew, so I didn't finish it. That was like when I first started this. I didn't.
Yeah,
I had to
those are
learn.
the best.
I had to learn. So
Yeah.
they were a materials distribution company that just consistently had so many issues with organization and making sure the right things are on the trucks and going at the right time and tracking these people. So we wanted to overhaul and redo their whole thing. Um, they were on board for it, but as much as the owner wanted to do it, you can't make people who aren't even using the tools they have in the first place to just completely switch to a new system that, you know,
Yeah.
might only be slightly better in some areas because really it's all up to human error. So I
Yeah.
don't know if that's not really a good answer to your question, but
Oh no, that absolutely makes sense because I've had the same thing as I'll build something and I'll be like, hey, I built this. You know, I've had clients hire me and they hire me to build something for their team. Actually, I'm dealing with this right now, and I like I'm telling the owner, look, this is what I can do for your business. This is how it'll solve all your problems. And then I come back, I build it. This isn't a web app; it's on Airtable, and I'm like, here you go. It's ready for you to use. And they're like, we're too busy. We don't want to deal with it. We don't want to use it. And so I have to step in and I have to sell them on what they've already paid me to build.
yeah,
You know, it's because the owner sees the value, the owner supports it, um, and the owner could go in and you know sell his team on it, right? But he's relying on me to go in, and I have to kind of not coerce, but get their team to understand the value of it.
yeah,
And a lot of that comes down to I just had this conversation recently uh, with another person on one of my podcasts of this exact same issue. And you kind of have to sit down and you have to explain to them that, hey, this is what you're doing currently, and this is what you're going to be doing differently, and what you're going to be doing differently is going to make your job harder temporarily, but in the long run the end result is a better outcome for the company.
and
People
it's
don't like to hear that second part of this is going to make your job more difficult in temporarily or or you know at
and
all,
people do not
right?
like that, especially if they're so used to the insufficient system. It's
Hmm.
yeah, yeah,
And it's hard to train people on a system that they don't even want to use. And so you have to my I did my first training it's after I started my business. I did my first training a little over a year ago now, and I just remember it was so funny being on the call cuz I'm like, all right, does everyone understand this? And just no one cared. And so you have to be really interactive. You have to uh at least for me, you know, I have to ask lots of questions and I have to be like, okay, what are you doing now? And they're like, oh, I'm doing this. And I'm like, and what happens if you forget to do that? And they go, oh, well, I just don't forget to do that. But what if you do? Oh, well, if I do, it causes, you know, in just a massive mess and really throws everything off and it'll take days for us to fix and it's really, really bad. And I'm like, so you're telling me that if you do, and what's the probability that you forget to do that? And they'll go, oh, well, you know, there's a 20% chance. And how frequently do you do that? Oh, well, we do this every single day. So you're telling me the probability that
once a
this is
week.
going to happen is high. And when it does happen, it's bad. And what I'm telling you is if you do this instead, you just don't deal with that anymore. Typically, it's something as simple as just put your data point in a specific field where it needs to go,
Hmm.
right? And the automation will handle it. Stuff like that. Or
Yeah,
don't put this was Google. This had a Google sheet. It's like don't put NA in the date field because then you can't sort by date.
yep,
Stuff like that.
yep,
So I absolutely understand what you're going through. I think everyone deals with that.
yeah, yeah. It's
Absolutely, absolutely.
yeah,
But
it's interesting. And I like I my one of the learning curves I'm going through is getting better at um teaching these people how to use the new system instead of assuming they'll figure it out, because for me when I look at it, since I built it, I know exactly how it works and everything
mhm.
kind of seems simple to me, but if it's a brand new system to someone, it's not as apparent. So I
Yeah.
definitely have gotten better, or trying to get better at that. Like my first client, I don't think they know still that they were my first client. They might have figured it out now. Um, Definitely bits and pieces that were not good there. So it's been an interesting journey to kind of um, teach them how to do things as they go because I failed to get that point across in the beginning, if that makes
Yeah,
sense. So,
absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, no, my first client also doesn't know he was my first client, and it was a wild ride because I was determined to give him 5-star service. And I definitely gave him 5-star service, but he probably thought I was crazy. I built it was an automation where we analyze Google Chats, and the AI picks up on issues that haven't been resolved and creates a HubSpot ticket, and then it monitors the chat. So if someone says I took care of that, it will close out the ticket. And so it was whenever I was a reporting analyst, and before I really knew a lot about API integration and whatnot. So it was a fun one.
Yeah, actually,
But
I have a question for you really quick.
absolutely.
In the beginning, how did you handle being everybody? Because I'm my biggest struggle is being the developer, the salesperson, the lead finder, the networker, just kind of doing all of this at the same time. Now I'm trying to get better at because I have people who I can call on to do work with me. They're like kind of the
Yeah,
contractors. Um, but I just don't do it, and then my days get super stacked, and then I tend to, you know, what thing that I should have done one day gets done on either the next day or the day after that because I've got too much going on.
absolutely.
Yeah.
That is an excellent question. It took me about a year before I actually finally, or a little under a year before I finally started delegating out and hiring a team. So now
Okay.
I have a team of about 5 full-time people, and I'm finally getting a little bit of sense of relief.
Yeah.
So the relief does come. Starting off, I built my business off of one thing initially, and it was an obsession and addiction to automation. And
Yeah.
I could wake up at 4 a.m. and I could code and program and automate till 8, 9, 10 p.m. and wake up and do it again. And for I could do that without a single day break is kind of what I built it off of. So definitely find out, what you don't want to stop doing whenever you start. Find out what that is and just focus on going all in on that. And any mistakes you make, like if I forgot to respond to an email, um, it wasn't the end of the world for me because the automations I built for my clients were so good, so affordable, and solved their problems so specifically that I was forgiven in a lot of other areas
Hmm.
that I wasn't perfect. So I found my one area where I was perfect, executed on that repeatedly, and then I just forgave myself for being imperfect in all the other areas while still doing them, but doing them inconsistently because it wasn't what I had a good knack for, right? So that's the
Yeah.
first part is self-forgiveness so you can really just continue focusing on what you're good at. Then I'll say the second thing is I didn't delegate anything until I came down with the flu one week earlier this year, actually, and just all of my projects fell apart. I couldn't do anything. It just so happened like the week that I got the flu was like one of the busiest weeks of my business ever. It'd be like I was at the peak of my business since I had started it, and I got sick and I couldn't function. And then all of my clients' automations coincidentally started breaking at the same time. And so I was getting like 2, 3 emails a day saying this is broken, that's broken. Stuff breaks whenever APIs change, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't anything that was my fault, but it was stuff that needed to be fixed. Did a terrible job at it. And after that, I was like, okay, if I don't get a team, I'm going to fall apart. And so the first thing I would start with, do you have a virtual assistant?
Um. No, I should use the one I made for somebody else for myself, but
I would get a human. Get a
get a
human.
human. Okay.
Yeah, I have a human virtual assistant. Check all my emails, manage my inbox using Gmail delegation. I would get international general commercial liability insurance, and then I would hire someone overseas for $8 an hour. Honestly, the everyone I've hired overseas has been like astoundingly amazing, and they're doing like an excellent job. I would do that, and whatever you, for me, it was checking my inbox because I like to code, I like to go deep in depth and whatnot. But for me, I would check. I always have had a habit my entire life since I started working of checking my inbox first thing in the morning, and the problem with my business though is I would check my inbox, I'd get one small email, I'd spend 2, 3, 4 hours, and then that's half a day gone trying
Yeah.
to answer my inbox because there's something that needs to be addressed, right? I hired an assistant, she took care of it. I got back I easily after I hired my assistant, I got back a good 20 hours a week.
Jeez.
And that gave me enough room and ability to do a bunch of other stuff. And now hiring a developer is an entirely different thing. Um, but but yeah, so that's what I'd recommend starting off with. You are there any areas you'd say that you would love to delegate the most? Get off your back.
Um, Definitely sales or like lead generation,
Yeah,
and definitely the tedious emails and communication. Cause I'm just not good at that.
yeah,
I
yeah,
like
yeah.
I
Anything you're
really
not good
hope.
at, you got to delegate it.
Yeah,
And
I
it's hard because you don't know. Here's the other thing I did is you don't know how to hire someone that's good at what you're not good at because there's that standard and whatnot. But I have an ad hoc hiring manager, someone I meet with just 1 hour a week, and they spend 1 hour a week sourcing talent for me. Um, and so if you ever want to talk to them, I can get you in touch. But it's really a good process of like I'll meet with her once a week and I'll be like, hey, look, I'm doing all this stuff. I need to be doing this other stuff. I don't want to be doing this stuff. Can you find someone to do this stuff for me? And
mhm,
then she'll message me next week. She's like, I got this person if you want them. And then I'll either take them or if I don't need them anymore, I don't need them anymore. That sort
fair.
of thing. So sorry for the long answer. I hope
No,
that
that's okay. I
answers
actually
your
have
question.
one more. I know
Absolutely.
maybe this podcast is supposed to be directed towards me, but I have another
Oh
question
no,
for you.
no, go for it.
Okay. Have have you ever had to deal with or reprimand like a developer for um just being lazy on a project and screwing something up?
I would say yes. Yes, multiple times. I'd say I always give people the benefit of the doubt. I don't think anyone's lazy ever. I think they either misunderstand or they're not motivated or they just have a different standard uh, different level of standards, and
Hmm.
I'd say it's really difficult. And it goes, you know, in terms of price, depends on how much you have to invest in them. If you're hiring a developer at a lower price, you have to spend more time investing in them. And by investing in them, I don't mean just money, I mean like your time. You have to spend more time communicating with them, telling them, hey, this is my standard, this is what I expect. I expect that you don't destroy production. Whenever you push something up to production, I expect that you don't destroy it.
Hmm.
I expect that when you fix one error, you don't cause five other errors. You would think you don't have to tell people that, but depending on if you're, because whenever I hired my first developer, I hired at a lower price range because it was only what was in my budget,
Yeah.
and I have to make up for that by having those conversations with them, saying, look, um, you know, this is kind of how it is. This is my level of expectation, and I would say always people typically hire fast and they fire slow. You have to hire slow and fire fast, and don't give people as much of a chance as I do at least, because I'll give people, way too long for them to disappoint me multiple times, and then at the end of it is you do your best to explain what you want, and if even if you feel like you could have explained it better, if you're telling them what you want and they don't get it, it doesn't mean that they're bad. It just means that they're not a good fit for your working relationship, and you need to get rid of them and find someone else. That was a hard thing for me. Is I was like, because I've had developers I hire as contractors, and so first off, they know that it's never like 100% permanent thing.
Hmm.
But one of the hard things for me was like I never give up. I like to really like go all in and keep pushing. Um, but I'm thinking to myself, okay, I've told this person 5 times that I want it this way or I want it that way, and they still are doing it the wrong way. Um, Let me, there's 10 other things I could tell them and develop them, but then I have to remind myself I'm not a large corporation. I don't have 10 years to develop this person. I don't have a year to develop this person. I'm a small business, and I have to tell them what I want to the best of my degree that I can. And if they don't get it, that doesn't mean that they're a bad developer. That doesn't mean that they're stupid or lazy or any of that, because I get frustrated and I have to remind myself that, I'm working with the human, right? Um, it just means that they're not a good fit, that they don't connect with you and they don't understand it. And so that's one of the hardest things to do is I'd say having that disconnect. Oh, does that answer your question?
Yeah, and so it seems like it's on us as leaders until it's not, and then
Yeah,
it's probably just not the right fit because differing mindsets, opinions, or just like quality standards.
yeah. That's
Okay.
one of the hardest things. Yeah,
Yeah, because yeah, I had this issue where someone didn't do something right, and then I got called out by the business owner over phone call saying like, "Well, what the hell?" And I'm like, and I just had to sit there and be like, "Absolutely, we're gonna fix this. No worries." And I get angry sometimes, so that like instantly
yeah.
lit me up after I got on the
So
phone, after the phone call, and
yeah,
it was such a learning experience to not to be able to accept the blame for something that you know I didn't do, but I also did do because I wasn't as thorough with my instructions and standards of quality and what we need from this project, and then go over to the person and be like, there was an issue, this is what happened, moving forward, let's try a little bit better on just having that, and then everything's fine, let's just
yeah.
get this fixed really quick.
Yeah,
That was
no,
such
that
a
absolutely
experience.
happens, and I'd say it's really hard. Like for me, I consider my team an extension of myself.
Hmm.
So when someone messes something up, it's I messed it up.
Yeah.
It's all me.
Yeah.
It's so hard taking that responsibility, but it makes it easier for me now, and so that's why I developed my team as an extension of myself, and I'm an extension of them, and I think that's what it means to kind of be a team is you take up, and so a lot of that just has to do with invest in your team, invest in the culture of your business, and eventually it all comes to fruition. Yeah. But anyway, so it looks like we're just about up on time, so I am gonna wrap up. Before we do wrap up, first off, thank you again for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks
Where
for having me.
can people find you? Where if they want help? First off, I guess tell us one more time. Who's your target audience? Who do you solve? What can you do? And where can they find you?
So Andrew Kidd, my business is BetterFlow AI. My target market is small to medium businesses who, you know, maybe seem like they're living off Google Sheets, can't get their act together, are bad at following up, things like that, and they want to consolidate everything together. Um, you can reach me honestly. My email is Andrew Kidd. That's Kidd. So ANDEREWKIDD at betterflow.ai. BETTERFLOW.ai. Um, that's the best place to reach me. Website, LinkedIn, website
Amazing.
www.betterflow.ai. Super simple. Um,
Love it. Love it.
yeah.
Thank you very much. And I'll put all that in the description as well. That way everyone can access it. But thank you so much, Andrew. I
Of
appreciate
course.
it, and
Thank you
we'll
again.
be sure to stay in touch.
Yeah, let's
Take
stay in
care.